Hello and welcome back. I'm Erica with Revival Threadworks, and in today's QMX video, we are going to be figuring out how many rows you need to have on your quilt. So last week's video talked about determining the optimal panto height for your project. So let's just say you have a quilt that has borders and you need to make sure that your pantos are within this exact space. Last week I taught you how to figure out what that optimal space is, or what that optimal panto height is. Now this week we're going to be talking about how to figure out the number of rows that you need in your project based on that panto height. So there's two different ways that this could play out for you. One is everything is simple math and you get to, divide it real quickly and easily, and your number is, exactly 14 rows or exactly 12 rows. But then there's another scenario where you're going to have some extra space that you have to deal with. So I'm going to show you how to do that quickly and somewhat easily. I think once you get the hang of it down a little bit, it's going to be second nature to you. So if you're ready to figure this out, then let's get started. Okay, y'all. So what we're going to talk about today is how to determine how many rows you're going to need in your project after you've determined the height of your panto. So the video last week talked about how to determine the optimal height of your panto to fit whatever space you need. That way you don't end up with any half pantos or extra space or anything like that. So what I've done here with this little drawing is I've made it to scale. So it is literally exactly how it's going to look when it sews out on your quilt. So this is our 5-inch panto. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 repeats, and 11 repeats gives us literally exactly within our space. So now what we have to figure out is how many rows do we need to do in order to have perfect spacing from top to bottom. So there's two different scenarios that you're going to encounter. Now every project is going to be different, so every time that you're going to do this, you're going to have to figure it out separately. So in a perfect world with zero spacing between your pantos, you're going to be able to divide 5 inches into the 70 inches, and you're going to come up with this magic whole number that's going to be wonderful. Okay, so let me just kind of show you what that's going to be. And it would be, you've got a 5-inch panto height, a 70-inch total height of your quilting space that you need to cover. You don't want any spacing between the rows. So 70 divided by 5 is 14. So you have 14 perfect little rows that are going to fit in your perfect little space. Now, is that going to happen very often? It could. I'm not saying that it definitely couldn't. But when you want to have spacing between your rows, and let's just say that your quilt is not exactly divisible by the height of your panto, that's when things get a little bit more tricky. Okay, so I've got an example over here. This is a 73-inch height. We've got the 5-inch panto, 55-inch width, 73-inch height. So as we know, 5 inches is not going to go cleanly into 73 inches. So now what we have to do is figure out how we can fill this space properly, evenly. Okay, so all these blue lines here are representing the number of gaps between our rows. So in this example, I've got 14 rows, okay, and there's 13 gaps because this one sits very, very close to the seam right down here. This one sits close to the seam up here, so we only have 13 spaces. So there's 14 rows, 13 gaps. The 13 gaps is what we have to figure out. So in order for us to have perfectly spaced rows, we have to figure out what the size of that gap needs to be. Okay, so keep that in mind. 13 gaps, that's what we have to figure out. The height of our the height of our quilt is 73 inches. So I have now recorded this video probably, I think 10 times, 11 times now, trying to make sure that I can explain this in a way that isn't as intimidating. Okay, so I've written out some formulas here. Okay, this is intimidating to probably anybody. It looks a little bit like high school math class, and it looks like a headache before you even start. So I'm going to try to take this and pair it with the information that we've got over here and make it make a little bit more sense. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about real numbers based on our little sample quilt over here. And as I said, this is to scale. So this is literally exactly how it would sew out. Okay, so here's what we're going to figure out. So our sample quilt is 55 inches wide by 73 inches. Now this is not the size of the quilt because it has a border. This is just the size of the area that we need to make sure that our pantos fit inside of, okay? So we chose a panto height of 5 inches. Now that was based on the video last week. Again, I will put a link down below so that you can go view that video and figure out your optimal panto height. But once you have that panto height, this is where we need to figure out the rest of the math. So I'm just going to be going based on that height that we found last week. Okay, so now what we have to determine is our final row height. The final row height is going to be 5 inches plus whatever spacing I want. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, I personally don't like spacing. I prefer my rows to be right on top of each other, but let's just say I want to have 1/8 of an inch spacing, okay? So fractions and decimals are a little bit different. So if I want 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to have to convert that into a decimal so that we can do our math. So I put a little chart here, and I'll kind of move down. Sorry, I know that means that you get to see a little bit more than you should at this point, but I've done a little fraction chart here, fractions to decimals. So 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 3/8, all the way down to 7/8 of an inch. And of course, when you get to 1 inch, then it's the decimal's 1. So I've gone ahead and put that here for you just so that you can have a little quick view of what your decimal is going to be once you choose your fraction. So my final row height equals the panto height plus my desired spacing. So because I'm going to do desired spacing of 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch, my panto height is 5 inches, my final row height is 5.125 inches. Okay, so this is what I'm going to have to calculate out, because this is what I want to see in my final project. I want to make sure that my rows aren't right on top of each other. I want to make sure that there's a little bit of spacing. So this is the math that I'm going to start with. Okay, now the next thing I have to figure out is how many rows. So what I'm going to do is take the total project height, which is that 73 inches that we talked about. And again, I chose this because it's not easily divisible by 5. Okay, I chose it just to throw something out there to give you a real life example of what could happen. Okay, so now we have to determine the rows. So we're going to take that final project height, which is that 5.125, and we're going to divide it into the total project height, which is 73. Okay, and that's going to tell us how many rows. So now when we do that, we're going to end up with 14.24 rows. Okay, I do want to clarify something. That 0.24 is not inches yet. It's 0.24 of a row. So technically it's about 1/4 of a row. Okay, so we've got 14 whole rows plus 0.24 partial rows. So now we have to take that partial row and figure out how much actual height that is, because it's not inches, right? So now we have to figure out how many inches we have to distribute. Okay, so we take that partial panto number, which is that 0.24, we multiply it by the final row height, and that's going to tell us how much of this equals about 1/4. Okay, because again, that's what we're trying to figure out, is what is approximately 1/4 of this number. So we multiply this number by this number, and now we get the total inches to distribute, which is 1.23 inches. Okay, so again, take a breath, grab a snack, grab a coffee, grab a tea, something. I know this is a little bit, it's a lot, but I'm trying to take you through it carefully so you understand what I'm trying to say. This 1.23 inches is how much extra space we have to figure out where to put. Okay, so what we're going to do with this 1.23 inches is we're going to divide it amongst all of these gaps. So as we said, we have 14 rows and we have 13 gaps. So we're going to take that 1.23 inches and divide it by 13 spaces so that we know how much to add to each space to get the final space that we need to have in between our pieces here. So the adjustable spacing is going to be the inches to distribute, which is this, divided by the number of gaps between the rows, which is 13. Okay, so now we're going to end up with 0.095, which is about 1/10 of an inch. It doesn't seem like very much, and that number is very small, but when we're talking about 1 inch or 1.23 inches, if we don't distribute it, we're going to have a row that looks really weird. Like if we don't distribute it, you know, and we leave it all at the bottom, we're going to have a 1.23 inch gap on the bottom, and it's going to look really weird. So we really want to deal with that equally. Okay, that's why we're going to take that 1.23 inches, divide it amongst all the spaces we have, and we get the 0.095. Now we're going to take that number and we're going to add it to the original spacing that we wanted, which is that 0.125, which is that 1/8 of an inch up here is the 0.125. We're going to take that 0.095, add it to what we originally wanted, which is the 1/8 of an inch, 0.125, and now we're going to end up with our final spacing. So that 0.095 plus 0.125 gives us 0.22 of an inch, which is approximately 1/4 of an inch. Not quite, but it's real close to 1/4 of an inch, okay? So now we know that if we put 1/4 of an inch, or again, approximately 1/4 of an inch between every single one of these spaces, we're going to end up with absolutely perfect spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these little blue marks here so that you can see how well this actually comes out. So when I take the blue part out, you'll be able to see that that gap really isn't very much. And I'm going to zoom out here in a second too so that you can see what it actually looks like zoomed out. And I will say for the third or fourth time now, this is to scale. So this is quite literally exactly what your sew out is going to look like. So you see, not only does it fit perfectly from side to side, which is what we determined last week, now it fits perfectly from top to bottom. And your spacing in between is dead on. It's exactly what it needs to be from space to space to space. So when you get to your machine, you know exactly what's going to happen. You don't have to hold your breath and cross your fingers and hope that it's all going to work out. You already know because you spent the 20 or 30 minutes that it takes to figure this out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the table and I'm going to show you how to put your first markings and then your subsequent markings so that when you get to your machine, you're ready to go. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and show you how to lay out your quilt now that you have a headache and you figured out all the math, okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to mark for your first panto. Now, based on our example, our panto is 5 inches tall, so the start point and the end point are exactly halfway in the middle. So 5 inches divided by 2 is 2.5 inches. So the very first mark that we're going to make is 2.5 inches down from the top. So as I said, in my example, I put that, the panto's all the way across the top and it meets that seam. So that's why we're going to go down there. So 2.5 inches down is right here. Now, I talked to you in a couple videos ago about these embroidery target stickers. These are just cheap little stickers that I bought on Amazon. I think they were like $6 for 400 of them. So it's, I don't know, like 10 sheets of these. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to use these to place our target, okay? So the purpose of these in embroidery is that this center point where both these lines come together is where your needle's going to go down. We're going to have the same scenario here. So we're going to place this sticker right over that point that we just made so that when we set our needle start point, we're literally going to set it right there in that spot, okay? So let's go ahead and put our first sticker down. Now, these aren't clear, and because they're not clear, you're going to have to just kind of be careful the way you place it. So I'm just going to eyeball it over here and then kind of move it over to be even with that line right there, okay? So that's my first mark. Now, I'm going to assume that my panto is going to have to go further than my field of each framing. In other words, I'm going to sew 55 inches, but I can only go like 31 inches. So I'm going to have to go ahead and set another mark. Now, this is just for an example. I don't know that I would do a full mark all the way down your quilt. However, you do want to go ahead and make sure that you have your end point for that first set of pantos. So we're going to go ahead and do another 2.5 inch mark down here. And we're going to place another target sticker, which again, this is just for, when you're setting up your first set of pantos. This is going to be where it's going to start, where it's going to end. And then when we move the quilt and keep going, we're going to also have to put another one of these target stickers at the 2.5 inch mark at the other end of the quilt. I don't have that marked out or even ready to visualize yet, so just keep in mind that you will need to place your stickers where it's going to stop. So based on on the measurements that we took last week, one of the things that we figured out is how far across we can actually get with that first set of pantos. So I think with the 5-inch, it was somewhere around 30 inches. So I would probably go to maybe, 32 inches or something, just so I can absolutely make sure that I'm going to get the full number of pantos in there. And that's where I'd place my sticker. You can do whatever you want, but anyhow, I'm going to place stickers for the start and the stop of the first row. Now, for the second row, when we start figuring out each consecutive row after the first one, that's where that spacing is going to come in. So with the first one, ignore the spacing. You don't need to worry about it because we're not spacing anything from the top. It's going to be literally your starter row, okay? So the next row is where we add in that extra space. So back at the computer, we figured out that the space between pantos is going to be 5.22 inches. So approximately 5.25 inches. So we're going to go ahead and put it right at 5.25 inches. Okay. So what we're going to do is just take our ruler and we're going to put it right there in that corner because that's where our mark's going to be. And we're going to put the next mark at 5.25. Because what we're doing is we're going center point to center point. So again, that distance, center point to center point, is the height of the panto plus the spacing. So we're going to go ahead and put that third target sticker right there at 5.25. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. So 5.25 down from here, 5.25, and we're going to place our target sticker right there at that 5.25. Okay. Now, I am not going to continue to go all the way down the quilt because I'm hoping that you get the idea. But to do this the rest of the way down, we're going to take that panto height plus the spacing, which again is 5.22, so approximately 5.25, and we're just going to keep going all the way down and placing our stickers all the way down so that when you get to the machine, all you're following is your points. Now, these stickers stick really well. So I have absolutely zero doubts that these stickers are going to stay on. So if you take the, 20 minutes, I keep saying, 20 to 30 minutes to do all your math, do all of your target stickers, and put everything exactly where you need it to be. When you get over to the machine, everything is going to be all done for you. So literally the only thing you have to do is set your start, set your end, and run it. And then set your start, set your end, and run it. And then by the time you get all the way to the bottom and all the way across, everything is going to be perfect. So I highly encourage you to do this setup before you get to the machine, so that all the stress and all the fear and the sweating and all the things that we do when we get nervous about things, all that stuff is gone and you don't have to worry about it. So I hope you survived the math. I know that math can be fun, but it can also be a little bit of a headache. And I think that this particular project did have a little bit of a headache in there, but I think once you get the concept down of what you're trying to do, which is distribute any overage into all those extra spaces, you're gonna get this, and everything's gonna start clicking into place, and it's gonna be just simple for you from there on out. So one thing I also want to address, I didn't talk about it in the video at the computer, is if you don't want any spacing, don't worry about adding that before you start doing the math. In other words, the 5.125, if you want zero spacing in between your rows, start at the 5 inches, divide that into the 73, and then you're going to end up with I think maybe 5 1/8 inch when you're all done. But this is just based on, I tried to throw that in there because I wanted to show you how you start figuring things out based on what you desire. And if you desire spacing between your rows, start with that and then add in the extra and go from there. So I hope that you learned something. I hope that this was a nice segue from the panto height video that I did, and I hope this answers your questions. I know that it's a lot, but anyhow, I hope that you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, comment. All of those things are really important to my channel at this point. So I hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you again on Tuesday. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.